What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 8, Episode 6, No More Nice Tish. Let's get into Ken and Trisha. We are still at Trisha's little birthday dinner that Ken had done for her. He cooked her a really nice meal. He gave her a really pretty bracelet. And now they're talking about their future together because Ken is getting kind of impatient about their relationship moving forward. He wants to hurry up and propose. He wants them to get married, and he doesn't understand why she is dragging her feet about this damn divorce. So Trisha tells Ken that the reason why she's kind of scared to get married again is because of people changing. And like she says, her estranged husband changed on her. The man that she married was not the man that he is now. He's like, a devil in disguise. She said that basically when she married this man, she thought that he was always going to be there for her, to support her, etc. But then when she went through some really difficult times in her life, for example, when she lost her parents, when she lost her sister, she said her husband wasn't really there for her. The one person that she thought that she could depend on above anybody else, he was not there for her. And so it's scary for her to try to go through this process all over again with somebody else because that person might change as well. So Ken tries to convince her that not all change is bad. We all have to grow as people. And, if we do end up changing, that's wonderful because we're going to grow and change together. It's just going to make us a stronger couple. So he tries to turn it into a positive, that people changing is not a bad thing and it can actually help our relationship. And so I guess that made her feel a little bit better because then he was like, well, are you ready to have him sign these papers? And she said yes. And I'm like, sign what paper? She hasn't even filed for divorce yet. This woman has not even filed for divorce. She's in a whole relationship with Ken. They're blending their families together. They're living together. They're living like an actual couple, but she cannot even file for divorce. I think there's like a whole story going on there. It can't be because, I don't want to get married again. Fine, if you don't want to get married, Trish, you don't have to get married. But that shouldn't stop you from filing for divorce. Okay, why haven't you even filed for divorce? Like, what's going on, Trish? You talk about this man and how horrible life was with him, how he brought out the worst in you. You're always angry. You're always very combative with him. This was not the ideal marriage at all. You found something better in Ken. Girl, why haven't you even filed for divorce? Let's move on to Nell and Chris. So they're in their own bedroom, and I guess Nell is trying to rearrange her clothes and shoes. She's got stuff everywhere. And she tells Chris that she needs a bigger closet. And Chris is like, okay, don't worry about it. I'll call somebody. They'll come here and start taking measurements. Boom, boom, we're going to get your closet. And I'm like, it must be nice to have a man, if you tell him you want a bigger closet, you want a bigger kitchen or whatever, he can get it done because he's in real estate. He probably knows a lot of contractors. He's probably on really friendly terms with a lot of contractors who can get him a really good deal on whatever the hell he wants. So it must be nice. So he was like, yeah, don't worry, we'll get it done. So then they start talking about her upcoming birthday party, and Nell is really worried about having Stormy and Letitia in the same room together because the tension is still pretty thick between them since the reunion. And so I think Chris has suggested something about, well, maybe you can have them have a conversation together, meet up and talk about their issues and try to resolve at least a couple of things before we get to the party. But I don't think that ever happened. I don't think Tish and Stormy ever got together to talk about a damn thing. So the tension was still thick at the party. So then they start talking about Lexi, which is Chris's daughter from her previous marriage, and how she's been going to the blogs, telling the blogs that Nell was Chris's side piece. I'm assuming Chris must have met Nell on or about the time he was married to Lexi's mom. I don't know. And maybe that's why Lexi is, talking about this. But this must have happened like 20 something years ago because the children that Chris and Nell have together are grown adults. So if Chris was cheating on Lexi's mom with Nell, girl, you should have been in therapy by now. If this is still, because Chris said that she's acting like this, about her going to the blogs and talking about family business, she must be doing all of this out because she's coming from a place of hurt. Girl, you need to talk to a therapist, not the blogs, because the blogs don't care about your family. They will drag Nell, Chris, and you. Okay, they don't care. So the fact that you're going to the blogs and talking about family business because you're still hurt, I think she's doing it for money. You need to go speak to a therapist. But I think that, maybe the blogs are offering her some type of kickback in exchange for dirt on Chris, because Chris kind of comes off as kind of like the perfect guy. Him and Nell have like the perfect marriage, because out of everybody on this show, it seems like Chris and Nell have the strongest relationship. But, nobody wants to see that. So maybe somebody was paying her to, spill some dirt on Chris now that they are a part of the Love and Marriage Huntsville cast. Moving on from there, let's talk about Maurice and Kimmy. So they're out to dinner with Marceau and Letitia. It starts off with them talking about the restaurant that Kimmy is building. And, she is considering possibly hiring Marceau. But the problem with Marceau, though, is that he takes forever to complete a project because his own wife is still waiting for her office. So Kimmy's really not sure about that. So she's like, you know what? I don't have a problem, hiring Marceau, but I'm going to have, she's not going to just hire him just to hire him, even though I think she said she wanted to keep it in the family, but he is a little bit slow with his work. So, a past project that Kimmy had Marceau do for her ended up taking way too long, and she doesn't want to run into that problem again. So Maurice says, well, Kimmy, she's gonna make the bids really competitive. So she's gonna do like this bidding thing where different contractors are gonna bid for the project, and she's gonna choose the best offer. And Maurice says, Kim is gonna make the bids really competitive. And then Kimmy looks at Maurice, and she's like, well, why are you saying just me? Because you're involved too. But, that's typical Maurice, how he likes to separate himself from Kimmy sometimes to make it look like they're two separate units instead of just one unified partnership. He'll do things like that. He'll like, oh, Kimmy's going to handle that, or that's Kimmy's job, or that's what Kimmy does, instead of making it seem like, well, they're actually in this together. I don't know why Maurice does that, but really, who cares? Moving on to Courtney. Courtney's meeting up with Ken at the basketball court. Ken talks about proposing to Trish. He tells Courtney that it's time. I want to marry her, but the girl hasn't even divorced her ex-husband, and I don't want to propose to her until her divorce is final. Not pending, not yet to be filed, but finalized. Judge's signature, stamp, seal, delivered. So, Trish, so he says a lot of people think that Trish is still with her ex-husband, that they're still together. They have no idea that Trish has moved on with Ken. And then they start talking about Martell not knowing Trish, or acting like he didn't know Trish at Stormy's house. And that really put the fire in Ken. It really pissed off Ken. And so Courtney was like, well, you're going to have to address that. You got to say something about that, because, he's got your girl looking crazy out here. You know how Martell is. Martell wants to throw mud on everybody because he went through a really difficult time with his own reputation. He wants to ruin everybody else's reputation as well, including the mother of his children. So, I think Ken said he was going to address it with Martell, and I cannot wait for that to happen. Moving on to Nell's birthday party. So on the way to the party, there's two separate vehicles. One vehicle has all the Scotts. The other vehicle has Stormy and her husband Courtney, Trish, and Ken. And on the van with Stormy and Trish tells Stormy that she was talking to Letitia, and Letitia had warned her about Nell. And so Stormy was like, why would, Letitia warn you about Nell? Because Nell to me is like a big sis. She's like a mentor. She gives really good advice. She's really inviting, and she's a really nice person. Like, why would she even warn you about Nell? So we get to the party. We're at the party. All of Nell and Chris's children are there. The cast people that are there, like Kimmy and Letitia and Stormy, they're all sitting down having drinks. And then when Mel came in, by the way, let's not forget that Letitia started drinking as soon as she got there, and she was knocking them down one after the other. So when Mel arrived, she walks into the venue and she has on her sunglasses. So Letitia goes up to her and greets her and asks her, like, what's up with the sunglasses? And actually tries to remove the sunglasses from Mel's face. Girl, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? Why would you? That's like assault. Why are you putting your hands on someone's face to forcefully remove their sunglasses? What's wrong with you? So by this time, like I said, Tish is like 3 sheets or 5 sheets to the wind, or however they say it. So Tisha wanted to start some mess by enticing Mel to address Marceau about whatever Marceau had been saying about Mel out there in the internet streets. And Mel was like, I'm not going to talk to that man about that at Nell's birthday party. Are you crazy? I'm going to wait. I'm going to, the season is not over. We have a long way to go. And I'm going to talk to this man when I feel damn good and ready to talk to him. But I'm not going to bring this up at somebody's birthday party. Then the Fletchers make their grand entrance. They come in together. Your girl is twerking on her husband, Chris, and it was cute. It was fun. Everybody sits down. The drinks are flowing heavily, and they're all flowing towards Letitia because, like I said, she is knocking them out. So people talk about how young Nell looks, and she can pass for 20. And here comes Letitia saying, well, you do look about 30. And so Mel asked Trish if she had always been a trainer. And Trish said, no, I wasn't always a trainer, but I was really inspired by my parents passing away, both of them within 7 months of each other. They both passed away at the age of 50. And that inspired me to get into health and fitness. So they must have passed away from, natural causes. So someone asked if Trish was married, and she said yes. Then she said, no, I was. And she goes, well, I'm still married, but separated, but I'm with someone. And so Kimmy was like, girl, what? What? You're married, you're separated, but you're with someone. And so then Kimmy asked, oh, the guy that you came with, is that the someone that you're with? And she said, yeah, that's the someone that she's with. And she, Trish, you're going to have to get it together because nobody is understanding why you're with Ken. You're living with Ken. You have a life with Ken, but you are still married. Like nobody's understanding this. So Ken is talking to the guys, and the guys are asking if Ken is married, and he tells them no, he's not married yet because Trish has got some, she still has some things going on, meaning that she has to get a whole entire marriage completely dissolved first. So then Trish tells the women that she hasn't even filed for divorce yet. Okay, girl, I don't know what to tell you. So then Tisha and Nell kind of get into it. And it started with Tisha calling Nell feisty. And, she said something like, yeah, Nell, she's good people, but she's real feisty. And so Nell was like, girl, what do you mean I'm feisty? If I'm feisty, then we're all feisty. And for then after this, Tish brings up how Stormy had invited her to the Galentine because on the way to the party, she was reading her text to her husband and Maurice and Kimmy. Stormy sent her a text, an invitation to her Galentine's event, saying that, if you've got the time, I'm inviting you to my Galentine's event. And so Tish was talking about how weird that is because they're not friends right now and they have a lot of unresolved issues. So why in the world would Stormy invite her to the Galentine? And that's what she says to the ladies, like, we haven't talked in months. Like, why would you invite me to this? And I'm thinking maybe it's Stormy's way of trying to make amends. Maybe this is her way of extending the olive branch to you by inviting you to her party. Like, what is going on, Tish? Like, what is wrong with her inviting you to her damn Galentine's event? So this gave Stormy a reason to ask Tish, what the hell does she mean at the reunion when she told her pops and pills. So she kept on asking that over and over again to Letitia. What did you mean by that? What did you mean by that? What did you mean when you said I need to go pop some pills? And so it was just bad, y'all. It was just really bad that Letitia was letting herself go like this. When she gets drunk, she's like a sloppy drunk, a very sloppy, messy drunk. She's ready to start arguments. All of her inhibitions are down because normally she wants to keep herself together, sophisticated, cool, calm, and collected, acting like she's above the mess. But then when you get some drinks in Tish, she just gets really sloppy and messy and horrible. So we'll see how this ends at next week's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later.